up, you guys? The Curious Owl here, and welcome to my January TBR and my return to BookTube. It's been a minute since I've posted anything, created anything, and it was really needed. I basically took a very spontaneous break for a couple of months because I needed to really focus in on a lot of different things with school and life and various other things. It's been a really nice chance for me to kind of reset, regroup, figure out what it is I really need to focus on, what it is that I really need to do, and I'm just happy to be back. I'm really happy to be back and be able to put content out back for you guys, and I still will be in school and I'll be doing a lot of other stuff, but the hope is that I will still be able to, continue with at least putting out a video once a week or something like that. But the most important thing for this video is to go over my January TBR. So first and foremost, we do have the next round of Battle of the Bookish going on, where our theme for this round is seasons. So we have summer, winter, fall, and spring teams. I am heading up Team Summer as I am a summer baby and I love the summertime. It's like my favorite season ever. So there are 5 general prompts that all the teams get to use no matter what, and then each team has 5 prompts that they get to use specifically for their team, and then when they complete those prompts they then go ahead and jump to another team. If you have any questions about how that works, go check out my other announcement videos. I was not able to make an announcement video for Battle of the Bookish because unfortunately I got really sick in December, off and on, and so I didn't really have the energy and or the real stamina to, I think, really just be able to put out an announcement video. So I apologize for those of you that were looking forward to that announcement video. We did announce everything in our Discord though, so I'll leave the link for that in the description. It has all the rules and everything that you need to know going into the round, so if you're interested in joining, please feel free to. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the TBR with my new bullet journal for this year. So for Battle of the Bookish, I'm going to start with the general prompts that everybody gets to use, and the first one is an LGBTQ plus book, basically a book that involves either LGBTQ authors or involves LGBTQ characters, themes, that such. So for this I'm going with Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. I did start this in December. I only got about maybe like 10% into it though before the end of December, so I did get to be able to carry this over into the readathon. So already almost done with this one at this point that I'm filming this, like probably 65% of the way through, and I'm really loving it so far. For a book, a general just read a book, I'm going with The City of Glass by Nevo. This is going to be for also a book club that I will mention later that I am participating in with someone that I support on Patreon. For a TBR vet, I will be reading Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. Now, one thing I do want to mention is there will be a readathon happening with the Robin Hobb Realm of the Elderling stuff, which I will go into a little bit later, but I am picking this book for that, so stay tuned for the basically the announcement of the read-along. Next, for a book with pictures, I'm going with Blood Over Bright Haven. There are some pictures of like schematics and stuff that are involved in this world within this book that I found, so that one counts for this. Pretty much a book with pictures is like a graphic novel, comic, anything that involves pictures, maps, stuff like that. And this has been an anticipated read from 2024. I loved The Sword of Kaigan by Elmao Wong very much, and so I've been very excited for this one ever since, and it was on my most anticipated list for 2024, so I'm happy to finally be able to get through some of the books that I had on that list specifically. Now, I did not get a chance to pick a book for a reread. I think I'm going to kind of leave this one up to a mood read of sorts because I don't really know what I want to reread with all the books that I have to read this month for different book clubs and stuff like that, so very likely it'll be like a graphic novel or something. I'm not quite sure, but we'll see from when we get to that point. For the summer prompts, you are able to double up when it comes to prompts for the month-long rounds. So for a cover for summer, a book that has a yellow or orange cover, I'm going with The City of Glass because there is a little bit of orange in the cover. I did not pick a book with a journey or road trip because I wanted to see which books I was going to be reading would fit this that aren't already being doubled up. So we'll kind of see that, when it comes to. Then for a summer book, I did decide to go with Delilah Green Doesn't Care because this takes place in the month of June, which is basically the beginning of the summer. For a romance, I decided to go with Lights Out by Nevessa Allen, which is a very popular stalker romance that people have been really raving about. I have the audiobook through this through my Hoopla, and I've heard the audiobook is like chef's kiss, most amazing thing ever, so hopefully I enjoy it just as much. And then finally, the last prompt for Battle of the Bookish is a son. So for this, I went with a Little Luck by Marissa Meyer, another 2024 most anticipated read. This one I think focuses on some D&D of some kind, because at least like the chapter headings, like there's a D20 in the chapter heading picture, like a little picture of it. So very excited for this. I have loved Marissa Meyer's contemporary work. I loved Instant Karma so much, and so I think I'm gonna really enjoy this, and it'll be a fast read because it's a young adult contemporary. It's gonna be fine. Before I get into the book clubs and groups and stuff, I do want to talk about the Realm of the Elderlings read along I'm going to be doing over the course of 2025. So I'm gonna leave the graphics here for basically the timeline of how things are going. So we're going to be doubling up several months within the year, basically because of the fact that there are some novellas I'd like to be able to read within this world, and then the main books in all of the series that there are, which basically the Realm of the Elderling consists of, I believe, 4 or 5 main series that are either trilogies or quartet series, and then there are 3 novellas specifically that I would like for us to read in this read along. This will be going over the course of the entirety of 2025, hence why there are some doubling up in some months. So for the first month, we have actually 2 books. We have the first novella I'd like to read, which is basically a prequel novella called The Willful Princess and the Piebald Prince. I currently have a copy on its way to me that should get here in the next couple of days. And then this is also the month we're going to be reading Assassin's Apprentice, because these books are fairly short for the most part, or at least they look small. So it should be very possible for us to read the novella and then also read the first book in the Assassin's Apprentice series, part of the Farseer trilogy. That's what it's called. So the Farseer trilogy is the first trilogy to read in this entire world, and then we move on to the Ship of Magic series, and then like 2 or 3 other ones. And the graphic here will also be listed in my community tab, so make sure that if you want to plan ahead for this, go check that out. Make sure that you kind of follow along with what's going on. I don't know 100% right now when live shows will be. It's going to depend on my school schedule and my work schedule and everything, so I will plan out ahead of time the live shows though, and they will be scheduled on my YouTube, so do pay attention to my channel for when those get scheduled out for. And I will also make announcements in my community tab for those videos, or for those live shows, so that you guys can plan ahead if you're looking to join in on the conversations about these books. But I've heard nothing but great things about this entire world and Robin Hobb as an author in general. This will be my first foray into her work, and I'm very, very excited. So finally, I'm gonna get into the book club and groups that I am a part of, because I am part of a lot of book groups, and I also have a lot of Patreon stuff that I want to do for people that I support on Patreon and want to be involved in, stuff like that. So first and foremost, my friend Brandy from Books with Brandy Shanae has a Patreon book club that you can join if you want. I'll make sure to leave everybody's links down in the description if you would like to check it out. But Brandy has a year-long like setup of all the books that they're going to be reading over the course of the year. And for the month of January, we are going to be reading Death of the Author by Ndendi Okorafor. I believe I've read a Ndendi Okorafor book in the past and I've liked it. I don't know much about this one, but regardless, I'm excited because Brandy's excited for it. And usually if she's excited for a book, I'm going to be pretty excited myself, because we tend to have pretty similar tastes and likes in terms of books. Now, also, I am participating in a year-long reading challenge that is for basically centering around Indigenous authors. And this is Studis, run by Native Lady Book Warrior, I believe is their name. Basically, it's every month you read a specific, for a specific prompt, and you read something that is by an Indigenous author. So for the month of January, we're reading a female main character based story. And for this, I decided to go with a new release that is coming out at the end of January, and it is called Mask of the Dear Woman. All I know is that this is very much a thriller story, and I love thrillers, and especially by Indigenous authors. I think that, like, especially like thinking like Stephen Graham Jones, They are so well done, and so I think that I'm gonna really enjoy this one. Then, like I said, for the Elderling read along, we're gonna be doing The Willful Princess and the Piebald Prince and Assassin's Apprentice. The Mooney Book Club that is hosted by G at Book Roast on her Patreon, they are going to be reading Blood Over Bright Haven in the month of January. There has not been, at this moment that I'm filming this, any news in terms of the Eldia year-long reading challenge, but essentially when that happens, when that gets released, I will be adding that on to the TBR as well. Then I am part of Jan from Jan Agaton's Patreon, and she has 2 different book clubs. She has a buddy read that she does with her patrons, which is basically termed as Bloody Read because her Patreon is all surrounded around being vampires, basically. And the Bloody Read for this month is going to be The City and Glass by Niveau. This is why I decided to put this for a book, because I'm going to be reading it this month for that anyway. And then for the Full Moon Book Club, which is basically more so geared toward the different like full moon monthly kinds of book club things, is Lights Out by Nevessa Allen, which again, that's why I decided to read this, because I'm going to be reading it anyway for this group. Then Liv from Livia Reads a Latte, her Patreon, I am a part of the Cozy Cafe reading group, which for this month we are going to be reading Empire of Shadows by Jacqueline Benson, I think is the last name. This cover looks stunning. Like, I'm very intrigued of what this is going to be. All I know is it's, I think, a YA fantasy, but it was released in 2024, I think in like April, and I've never heard about it until I saw Liv wanted to read this in January. We have my reads that I'm doing with my mom and my sister. Now technically we have 2 books that we're going to be reading in the course of January, because one comes out later in the month that we are going to be very excited for. But the one we're currently working on together is Long Live Evil by Sarah Reese Brennan. I am a little behind on my buddy read with them, basically, because there's another book that I am trying to finish this month that I need to finish first or something like that, but basically we're working with Long Live Evil right now, which I already have started. I'm quite a bit of a way through it, and I really like this. It's super fun, it's very villainous, and I'm ecstatic to see how the rest of it goes. And then the other book we're going to be reading this month is going to be Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros, when that gets released on January 21st. I am so excited. I am also terrified because of how things happen with Iron Flame, and I'm hoping that some of the theories that my sister and my mom and I were developing with Iron Flame come to fruition in Onyx Storm, but there's going to be 2 other books in the series, so not quite sure how that's going to go. And then there are 2 other readathons I will be doing that span over the course of the year. They're more like reading challenges. The first is Jade from JD Ray Reads' Patreon reading challenge, which basically is all surrounded around Pokemon. This is the 4th year that they're doing it, so this is all centering around capturing 4th generation Pokemon. Now this one is a little bit different because it really just depends on what I read. You only can do 1 book per Pokemon that you decide to catch, and so it's going to be something where when I finish a book I see what it fulfills and then kind of go from there. So I can't really give you anything set in terms of that, but that's kind of okay for me. I kind of like the idea of having something where it's a little bit more going at throughout the year as I go, and I think that's going to be a really fun challenge to see what I can do in the year regarding that challenge. And also there is the Witchathon Create a Witch D&D kind of inspired reading challenge that is going on for them. And this is very similar, except like I said, it's more D&D based, where you basically pick out stuff to create your own witch, and you know, ascribe yourself to certain strengths and weaknesses, and you can use deities and spirit guides and all these different things, and like based on what you read they will help in certain areas to build your skills, and then those skills can be used to during the Sabbats doing like rituals and stuff like that. So it's going to be really fun to see how this is going to go. This is the first time that Sam is doing this, and I cannot wait to see how this goes. I think it's so fun and creative, and I'm very ecstatic again to be able to see what I can do in the course of a year with tracking it through this type of tracking system, I guess, if you want to call it that. I can say with Witchathon, there are a few things I did set aside that basically will fulfill the prompts that I need for like my the type of witch I am, the subtype, and the deities I work with. For a standalone, which is for being a solo practitioner subtype, is to read a standalone. So for that I went with A Little Luck by Marissa Meyer. Then for one of my deities, which is Brigid, one of the prompts that you can use is like having either a baby or a character that takes care of children. And for this I went with Delilah Green because one of the main characters in this book is actually a mom. She's a single mom of an 11-year-old. And then for a romance, which is for my goddess Aphrodite, I decided to go with Lights Out by Nevessa Allen. Then for my goddess Maya, who is the goddess of like the earth and stuff like that, this is a book where it has to have plants on the cover, and for this I went with Empire of Shadows by Jacqueline Benson. And then finally there is, again for Brigid, another prompt where there has to be like fire on the cover, and for this I decided to go with The City of Glass by Niveau because there's like a little part of it where you can see some fire coming off of the buildings. So, but yeah, as of now, that's like the only 5 prompts I know for sure I can basically do for Witchathon. Everything else will be kind of just like gravy and figuring out, okay, where does this fit in terms of like the skills and the deities that I work with, stuff like that. So I'm very excited for how this is going to go. So it might seem like a small TBR, but it's actually quite a bit bigger than this. So I'm very excited for how this is going to go. I'm excited to get back into my reading game and being able to like just get back into the swing of my life and getting back to things I love and enjoy. So I hope you guys are ready to go on the ride with me. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys did enjoy it, please do give it a big thumbs up, and if you haven't already and you'd like to be and would like to see more content like this, go ahead and hit that button down below and subscribe to become an owlet in our flock, and I will see all of you guys in my next video. Bye guys.